Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ACW Newscast. Welcome to Newscast 37, of the ACW Newscast. I am Hakeem Johnson, your ACW commentator, as always. And if I feel a little bit drowsy, if I feel a little bit weak, it's because I am. I'm a little bit under the weather. I don't feel strong as I should, but I decided to do the newscast and get it out the way so you guys can see what's going on this week. I planned on, reading comments and questions for this edition, and we will still do that in a way, but it'll have to be a abridged version because I want to talk about two things that have been conceived as breaking news today that I want to talk about in some detail. So let's get that out of the way first of all. If you guys haven't heard by now, on Facebook and on the website, through the ACW Newswire, breaking news is that the general manager of Excel, Roger Smith, has officially signed and approved an exhibition match between Solid Snake and Donkey Kong, both people from Excel, in a match for the summer in celebration for the release of Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS, which is coming out this summer, although a specific date has not been made yet. And for those asking, most likely we're going to do an exhibition match for the Wii U release coming out this winter. We haven't gotten specific dates between those two, but if we do, we will post the match during that week when it's released. As you guys remember, I did it for Super Smash Bros. Brawl in that 20-minute Iron Man match between Ness and Lucas about a few years back. And it was one of the highest rated videos that we had on the old account, African15. So I figured I would bring it back and celebrate one of the most decorated and, honestly, in my opinion, best fighting games in all video game history. Like, Super Smash Bros. Has become a tradition now. Like, back then it was just a fun multiplayer beat-em-up game, but now it has become a legacy where people want to find out who are the new challenges approaching, what stages are we getting, what new modifications, improvements we're getting, when's the release date, stuff like that. Super Smash Bros. Has transcended to what it was supposed to be in the first place, and has become something bigger. You see tournaments and competitive matches posted online, and even seen in other places like Best Buy or your local library, stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. I had an N64 back in the day, and I remember having Super Smash Bros. And I know I risked staying up late and having to be so sleepy at school just to play Super Smash Brothers. It was really fun back then, and like just that game, and with Super Mario 64, I just really became a fan of it all. And then I played Melee at the Nintendo GameCube. Again, loved it. Super Smash Bros. Brawl. People have their mixed opinion and have their mixed reviews about Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but at the end of the day, I still think it held up to what it was supposed to be. I mean, compared to the three, it's the weakest of the series, but that's not a bad thing. It's just compared to those two games. But otherwise, it's still a great game to play. Still playable, still replayable. And I expect nothing different for Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and the Wii U specifically. And if you guys have heard already through the grapevine, Nintendo's not doing so well in terms of sales for the Wii U and just lack of interest in general. And I think the reason being is that they rushed the Wii U. I still think the Wii had a lot of longevity to still be playable, and they moved ahead and released the Wii U because they wanted to compete with the next generation consoles like Xbox One, which I hate. I just don't like the Xbox One, and that'll be for another day. And then Xbox 4, which is really nothing different from PS3. Did I say Xbox 4? I meant PlayStation 4, which is really nothing different from PlayStation 3, in my honest opinion. So not a lot of renovation for all three companies in terms of this generation's console wars. But I'm looking forward to not only just that game, but Mario Kart 8. So if I'm going to purchase a Wii U, it'll be for those two games alone. And maybe Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, because I played the Donkey Kong series, whether it was Donkey Kong 64 or Donkey Kong Country or Diddy Kong Racing. I love games like that. So the trip down memory lane. So that is all the news I have in terms of that, and we will update you guys on that when the time comes and when the time passes for that match. The second biggest news to come out tonight is apparently the FCC has forwarded the motion to allow open discussion about the new net neutrality rules that they're proposing. Now, I want to read this article from Reuters, and I don't want to misinform them, or I don't want to misquote what they're trying to say. So I'd rather just read it verbatim. So here we go. U.S. regulators on Thursday, today, advanced a net neutrality proposal that would ban internet providers from blocking or slowing down access to websites, but may let them charge content companies for faster and more reliable delivery of their traffic to users. For 4 months now, the public can weigh in on the rules proposed by the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, in what promises to be an intense tug-of-war between some tech companies and consumer advocates on one side, and Republicans and broadband providers on the other, over the extent to which the agency can regulate internet traffic. Dozens protested the vote at the FCC on Thursday, as many consumer advocates have rejected FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler's proposal that may allow some commercially responsible deals in which content companies could pay broadband providers to prioritize traffic on their networks. Critics worry the rules would lead and create fast lanes for companies that pay up and mean slower traffic for others. Wheeler pledged to use all of his power to prevent, quote-unquote, acts to divide the internet between the haves and have-nots. Consumer advocates want the FCC to instead reclassify internet providers as utilities, like telephone companies, rather than less regulated information services, which they are now. Broadband companies and Republicans, both in Congress and at the FCC, vehemently oppose the plan. The advanced proposal seeks comment on benefits of reclassification, which critics say would throw the industry into legal limbo, discourage investment in network infrastructure, and still not prevent pay-for-priority deals. Wheeler's two fellow Democrats at the FCC expressed misgivings about his proposal, with Commissioner Jessica Rosenworcel saying the FCC moved too fast to be fair. But she and Mignon Clyburn concurred with Wheeler for a 3-2 vote to begin the process of collecting public comment on the proposal. And here's what Clyburn said. The real call to action begins after the vote today. You have the ear of the entire FCC. The eyes of the world are on all of us, which is total BS, but I will explain later. The FCC's move comes after a U.S. appeals court rejected its earlier net neutrality rules, which say pay-for-priority deals would raise significant cause of concerns. To comply with the court, the new proposal suggests some pay-for-play deals may be allowed, but also asks whether some or all such deals can be banned. The FCC's vote was cautiously welcomed by both broadband providers and consumer interests and technology groups, as each side hopes the ultimate rules lean their way. So that's pretty much the whole article from Reuters about this new motion to be passed in terms of talks about new net neutrality rules. Now, I'm of the opinion that when you start trying to tingle and when you start trying to fix something that isn't broken in terms of the internet, when you start trying to do things like that, you're opening a Pandora's box that will see a domino effect the likes of me, you, or anybody else cannot interpret at this current time. Basically, say if you're on YouTube, if these rules were to come into effect, say if you were going to YouTube and you want to upload a video, that's going to cost you $2.99 to upload a single video on YouTube. Companies will get that leverage to charge the people, the consumers that go on the internet. If you want to upload a video, $2.99. You get a 5-video free limit before you have to start paying on a monthly plan so you can watch videos for free. That's where it's going to head. Same thing with Twitter or Facebook. You're allowed 5 statuses free for an entire day. If you want to post more, then you'll have to be charged. And I think that's wrong. I think trying to mess with the open internet to such lengths like that is detrimental to how we as a society and how we use technology can become. And honestly, if we try to allow this to pass, then it's going to allow a lot of things that can be, like the article said, go in terms of legal limbo, and in terms of just people raising concerns that the government is owning, charging, and influencing the internet. And a lot of people already assume that in the first place. It's not good that the FCC are trying to perpetuate these kind of concerns when a lot of people feel like the internet isn't open whatsoever, and that goes through the talks about the deep web theory, which I have gone through myself, and the results were really incredible, and other stuff like that. But that's for another time as well. So I don't like the potential of this discussion being open in terms of new net neutrality rules, because at the end of the day, money rules the world. It's kind of like the Wu-Tang Clan's Cream lyrics. Cash rules everything around me. Cream get the money. Dollar dollar bills, y'all. And that's what it is about. The government is owned and controlled by money and special interests. Do not let any congressman, governor, mayor, or anybody within the executive ranks or in the judicial ranks tell you otherwise. Because it's really simple for them to solve certain problems going around in our domestic world. But they refuse to do it because special interests wouldn't be as big as if they did nothing, and that would raise their profile. That's what it is. So don't be fooled by the talking points, and don't be fooled by the mainstream media telling you one thing from talking heads that really don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it's funny to me, I feel like people, these so-called lowly consumers, know more about this than the actual people we elected to office. What a shame. So I will be talking about this news, and I will be updating this news as more information comes out during the time. So stay tuned for all that stuff. We got about like 3 or 4 minutes left, so I'm just gonna go through certain small comments. Enrage Media Corp asked me some questions. Will you consider some characters from Nisekoi or Madoka Magica, or bringing in Blaze Blue characters to ACW for the ACW female brand, which is the Glamour X division, when it gets off the ground? Again, I'm just starting to catch up back to my anime programming, see what shows interest me and what shows I can use that benefits everybody and pleasing a certain audience. So I would have to look at those shows and kind of judge for myself, but you never know. I don't want to say never, it would never happen. But just stick around. It could possibly happen. It's not a problem. And I also asked on Facebook only that I was planning on doing an ACW Hall of Fame special. It would be the week of Animania 3. If you guys remember the 2008 inductees to the Hall of Fame, it was Sailor Moon and Sonic the Hedgehog, both headliners, and then the other two, which was Piccolo and Speed Racer. And we uploaded those videos under the Classic ACW series on YouTube. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, we didn't give them a true ceremony, and I really want to do a lot of ideas as ACW returns in just about 10 days. So I have a lot of ideas that I want to do, and one of them is to host an ACW Hall of Fame special, recognizing the 2008 class in 2014. And a lot of you guys really agree with me. You guys overwhelmingly agreed with me. So I will go ahead and move ahead with that idea and that proposal. And that's just going to be a part of a lot of things that are going to happen at Animania 3 this year. You guys are going to love Animania 3 this year, and you guys are going to love the events, specials, and week heading into Animania 3. I promise you that. And we'll release more information on that as we get everything set up and structured. But I'm getting a little bit woozy now. I'm going to go lie down here. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for another edition of the ACW Newscast. We will see you next week, as it is the final week of the newscast before the return of Anime Championship Wrestling on Monday, May 26th, with the start of ACW Exhibiion on Monday, and on Thursday, ACW Impulse. So stick around. A lot of things are going to be happening as the days start winding down. I'm Hakeem Johnson, telling you guys, as always, to stay cool. Stay cool. Later.